Something different this time. Matchbox. 1970. Fastback Mustang. I'm going to do a restoration on this one. Obviously not return it back to this guys, but I'm going to go something a bit more traditional. Get rid of these wheels. Change up the crazy 1970s paint job. I got this one a little while ago in a bundle of second-hand cars I bought. I do have this one in mint condition. I did notice there's some damage on the roof. But yeah, I do have this one in mint loose condition. Not carded, but you know, it's a cool car. I thought I've always wanted to have one that looks more original. Check out what our wheel options are, how low we can go. Matchbox ones, unfortunately, some of them have metal posts in there that stop you from being able to lower the car easy enough, because these are pretty big wheels, and if we go smaller, obviously it's going to look a bit ridiculous unless we lower it a fair bit. So I've got some wheels in mind. They're not real riders or anything, but yeah, let's blow it apart. Now I'm just going to do what I normally do there and heat the posts, remove the bottom, so we can put it back on and it'll look just like this. Close enough to it anyway. Oh, let's have a look. Okay, got this thing apart. Filed out the hole so it clips back together, just like that. When we're finished, we can just put a bit of glue in there and it's all back to how it was. The wheels, yep, they're going to the bin. I really don't like those wheels. Matchbox put them on a lot of cars, they really didn't suit many. They're also pretty big without a low profile tyre, so they didn't suit much. Yeah, anyway, that's it. Looks like the rear louver just unclips from there, and that might need to heat that or drill that little rivet there holding the windscreen in. Windscreen's not bad, might just need a polish. Roof, probably gonna have to file that damage. I don't know, look like someone maybe hit it with I don't know actually what tools a child would have to damage a roof like that. But anyway, interior, you know, it's not that bad. The steering wheel's upside down. It's got the recognizable Mustang dash. Seats, they look like the high back Mustang seats. It's not too bad. I'll probably just go flat black with that, or satin black interior. Thinking about colour coding the base. Having colour coded bumpers wasn't featured much, obviously, on or at all on factory Mustangs of this era, but the race cars, a lot of race cars had coloured bumpers and it looked pretty cool. So I might go with that. Get those out. Yeah, so that came apart pretty easy, just like that. That wing's still in pretty good condition. We might just give it a bit of a clean, a scrub, see how it comes up. Leaves us with the windscreen in there. Now, I probably wouldn't want to attempt to pop that off because it's probably going to crack. It's a pretty brittle plastic, but that's good because it usually responds well to polishing. So we might just heat that up. Let's see if we can push down up here and get that off. You can see that came out fairly easy. I just heated up the post, took it out. Now, one thing you notice is you have these stupid metal, well, I guess they're not stupid, but they're metal posts that hold the axles down to that standard ride height. So I think what I might do is take some material away from those, and so we can set our axles in there a bit lower. Also, we're gonna have to get rid of these little casting tabs here that stop the wheels from bottoming out on the body. We have to get rid of those altogether, just so they're not in the way, because you can see they're gonna foul the wheels pretty easy. So let's get rid of those. Alright, that turned out pretty good. Got rid of those tabs that were there. So we can go a bit lower if we have to. Take those little, I like to clean those up a bit, just because they do make the wheels sit a bit uneven. So these aren't the wheels we're going to use, but we're going to use the axle set of wheels. Oh, there we go. We're going to use the axle to work out what sort of height we want. So, my guesstimation, that's about where we want to take the post back to that red dot in there. Let's do that and see how we go. Let's hope we haven't destroyed it totally. Alright, I've guessed that pretty good. It looks kind of light at the moment, but there is going to be an axle tube in there. So that'll bring it back up a little bit. Well, I may have a change of plans here because I'm kind of digging that ride height. It's got that, you know, 70s Trans Am series Mustang Camaro, dumped in the weeds sort of look. So sometimes it's good to check out the casting before you take the original paint off, just because that shiny gloss paint shows some of the defects. So it's good to have a, you know, casting you don't have to work on, but I mean, you could probably leave it, but those two, because casting mark on each side looks pretty terrible. And there's also that roof that we've got to fix. But other than that, I mean, it looks pretty good. The rest we won't see till we get the paint off, but we might give that a quick clean up before we strip it, just to see, so we can see where it is. Yeah, not as bad as I look. I guess the paint was built up on them a bit. Could have filed it, but the Dremel just takes a bit of time. Gets those really high parts down a bit, so you can just level it with a file. And we'll get the paint off. We'll have a look at that dent, or dents in the roof, whatever's happened there. The rest of the roof looks straight, so I don't know how it's got that sort of damage. I'm just using a very regular paint stripper here and a brush. I've got it in a little oven tray so it doesn't go everywhere. While it's finishing up, we're going to get some parts washed. So we're going to give this base a good scrub. Some soapy water, rear louver, this windscreen, and the interior. Give that all a good wash. And then plastic prime this base after we've done a bit of work on the bottom there to get the car to roll. Well, I've got it down to its birthday suit. That paint's gone. There's a couple of bits we have to concentrate on here. We need to do some file work on this bonnet. It's the leading edge there. And there's a couple of little casting marks on the guard that'll probably sand out. Fix the quarters up. There's also a couple of little flash or casting flashes on the tops, and then one across the top of this, here, across the top of the quarter panel. And that's about it really. It's pretty clean. You can see now it doesn't have any paint on it. There's actually a really good casting. Alright, so we've done all the corrections here. Well, most of them. This one on the roof, it's a little bit there. I'm going to take too much more material off. It's going to flatten it out too much and then it's going to lose some of the shape there. So just leave that. The primer should cover that up. All the other little bits have been fixed. So it's much smoother. All those flashes are gone. What we'll do is we'll get some primer on it. Then we'll have another look at it and decide on some paint. Interior, we've got it all painted. I did try and spin that upside down steering wheel around, but it broke, so we've used the steering wheel off something else. It's pretty sporty looking, 70s look to it anyway. With the satin white on the seats and then the semi-gloss for the rest of the interior. We milled down the axles, or below the axles there, so I could, because it was a bit too low. Well, you could probably tell from the base, I went with the grabber blue. It's a really cool colour option, I think, for the 70s Boss Mustang. Yeah, I think it turned out alright. It's got a few blemishes to be expected. The weather's pretty bad here, so probably should have waited for a warmer day, but we got it done anyway. It's pretty shiny, got a bit of shine to it. So I'm going to call this done. 70s Boss Mustang from Matchbox in grabber blue. I finished off all those details. In the background here we do have a mint original of that car. Remember, this one didn't start out in such good condition. Okay, if you did enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and stop back for the next one.